G'day guys, thought I'd get me a little, pretty much the base of my 6-inch high banker and just talk about cleanups and some of the important stuff that you need to do. So there's a new addition to this setup, something I haven't really played with too much, so I'm going to play with that today. And the new addition is a speed controller. You might ask, why have a speed controller? So a lot of people use something similar to this, a 2000 GPH on their 6-inch high banker, and 2000 GPH is just too much to use as a cleanup. So let me fire this thing up and I'll get used to have a look at the flow, and I'll explain a few things that I'm doing a little bit differently, because I just don't want to pull a few bits apart, and I'll explain all that. Alright, so I've got the water on. I've got to hold this in a right position so that it stops flushing. There's a way anyway, but it's about 43% there. You can see the water coming down, coming out of this pipe. Now, with this setup, what you're supposed to do is you're meant to have a flap that goes across here. That's long gone from using this thing primarily as a high banker. And you also put this plate in, and what that does is acts like a bit of makes a well there so that it evens the flow out going across the mat. And you don't have to use the mat that I'm using. You can use pretty much a V-mat. And when I bought this high banker, I got the V-mat with it. The most important thing, if you are going to use this micro cell, is you've just got to put a brush in there, and what I'm trying to do is brush all the air bubbles out. So once I'm pretty happy that all those air bubbles are out of the cells, then I'm pretty close to running. I'll show you a couple of little bits and pieces that I need to do first, and then we'll run some material through. Alright, so this is some material I've screened down, and very important, very important to screen. Now, what I've got is it's pretty much this ring thing like this, which is like the outside of the screen, and a fine screen, a coarser screen, slightly less coarse, slightly less coarse again, and up on there that's a little bit less, and then obviously the one I showed first is the fine one. So this stuff's been run through all those screens, and this is where your mat and your water flow is going to vary a lot. Now obviously you don't want to put something like miner's moss in here, because it's just going to capture pretty much everything. Just the dirt's probably going to come through, and everything else is going to get held. Now, one other thing that I said before about my setup is that is meant to be screwed in where you can see the little bolt head. But what's happened with mine is, because I have these side plates from the high banker, because I've modified this high banker, it's no longer there. So I haven't run any material through. I'm going to do that now, and it's just a teaspoon. Now I'm going to drop it on top of this plate. Alright. And ideally you want to spread it over the whole mat. But when I cut this, because at the time they didn't have, and that's why it's short, this is actually a cut down gold cube mat. So as you can see there, the lighter stuff is making its way down to the mat, and still a little bit of black sand is sitting there. So what I'm going to just do very slowly, I'll keep this here and then I'll watch sort of two places at once. I'm just slightly turning it up. So I started at 43%, and you can see now that black sand's gone and I'm up to 47. Alright, I'll drop another spoonful in. And as you can see now, the material isn't sitting on that plate anymore. And it's getting caught in the mat and making its way down. So it is a very, very little micro mat, I suppose, and I think this has changed now in design a little. So there's been some advances made, but I suppose you're getting that idea, and I could probably even drop that down, and I will, just a little tad. I've dropped it down to 45%. Now, there have been, some people know that I've got this speed controller, and they're all asking how many amps will it take. Well, apparently it takes 30 amps. So, it's pretty impressive. I don't know, the wires are pretty small, and I don't know, I'm a bit sus. But it seems to be handling this pump, which is about, I think, 9 amps, perfectly fine. But time will actually tell what actually happens. So, I think you can probably see a little bit of gold there that hasn't even, I think it just made it to the cell then, as I was talking. You can see there's another little bit of gold there. Oh, I'm talking a little bit of gold there, I'm talking right there. And you see that, it's just made it down past the other cell. Obviously my hand being there, has, or my finger, has changed things up a little bit with the flow. And this is the thing, you know, people say, oh, you know, this doesn't capture this, that, and all the rest of it. If you get that water flow, you get the angle right, anything will capture gold. I know in some countries, man, they're putting rocks in their sluices and using rocks to trap the gold behind them. So anything will catch gold. It's about what's coming out that bottom end. I'm running slow enough that I'm pretty confident that I should be able to feed this thing. As long as there's capacity in the cells to hold that gold, then there shouldn't be an issue. What I'm going to do now is just feed this first stuff through, and we'll have a look and see at the end what it's captured. Alright, so it's been running for a few minutes after I've stopped feeding, and you should be able to see there's a little bit of gold migration down near the bottom, but it's not the full length. And honestly, you probably need to run this 2 or 3 times I'm going to set a pan, because I haven't been doing that, just at the bottom here, and just in the pan underneath. Probably should have done that a little bit earlier, but I didn't. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set this up so you can see what's going on there. And I'm just going to turn the pump off. I'm going to watch and see how much gold migration there is going down the mat once the water turns off. I don't know if you guys could see that. I personally, with my eye, didn't see anything move, but now that I've stopped it, if I started it up again, different story, because the air would have got to the gold. This gold isn't big. Like, for those that know the microcell, they'll know how little those little cells are. If I put my finger there, I don't know if that's gonna, so think about your finger. 2 cells is about the same size as my finger. Just trying to find, I don't carry coins with me, so I put a coin there to show you the difference. But as you can see, there's a little bit of gold down here, not a great deal. The reason I put the pan at the bottom was just to see, there was a little bit of black sand. I could see a little bit of stuff down here at this edge, and I wanted to see what, if anything, come out the bottom that was getting held up that had made it through the mat. So what I'm going to do now is reset up, and what I'm going to do is run this material, which is some coarser material and some fine material, and just show you the difference and what happens when you don't screen your materials down properly. The only other thing I'm going to do, always run your material through something like this wet. So that's one of the most important things, run it wet. Never run it dry. So I'll pull that mat out, I'll give it a clean, and we'll reset up and run that material and see how we go. Alright, so I started at the 44%. I think that's where I was at on the last one. And same deal, slightly larger rocks going in as well, not just the fine last screen. I think it's just, this is the last screen and the second last screen. Yeah, seems to be feeding through good. The rocks seem to be travelling. I don't need to turn it up, which is surprising me a little bit. Actually thought there'd be some more rocks getting held up and not moving down. Like when I first started this experiment, I was dumping material there and it was still sitting there because I had it too low, the water. Got to watch this feed, I suppose, a little bit as well. You should, even when you're running a river sluice or any type of sluice in that sense, you should be spreading those gravels across the whole mat, just so that you're letting it, or you're allowing it time for the gold to drop out. Not just ride the wave down the sluice. Alright, I'm going to feed the rest of this. Should be able to see there's some gold starting to appear already. And then I don't know if you're really interested, I might just show some gold at the end of what this gold looked like once it's all cleaned up. Alright, back soon. Alright, so as you can see, there's the gold. Some has made it right down near the bottom of this, but having this short of a mat, you probably want to run it through 2-3 times, reducing it every time, and getting the gold out. I've done a quick little clean up from the first little run, first ground that I sort of ran through here. You can see like all the black sand that's there. You can see there's still a ton of black sand in here, so it'll take quite a while to clean this stuff up. But does the speed controller make a difference? Yep, I've used a ball valve in the past, and it's a little bit hit and miss. This I can just slowly adjust. Seems to work much better. I was thinking about putting the homemade Miller table that I used before on, but there's really no point. I'll shut this off and I'll do it again so that you can watch. I'll turn her off and we'll look for gold migration. I personally didn't see anything, and when I did put the pan there the last time, the stuff that was getting held down here was just some black sand. It wasn't actually any gold in there. So you can see there's gold right to that bottom cell, but I'm not sure of the length of this, but it's not even the length of the 6-inch. It's whatever the gold cube is. So there we go. I'm going to have some fun cleaning this up, and I'll see how it goes. I might put all the gold together, but I'm hoping you can tell that the gold that you're looking at, it seems chunky, but that's more because of the water. It's very, very, very fine gold. You're looking at black sand there as well, so very super fine gold. Probably a lot of it, this is from Reedy. I never can be bothered cleaning my gold up from Reedy. I just throw it in a bucket, and if I actually show you this bucket, you'll be shocked. I'd be here for days cleaning this stuff up. But yeah, something a little bit different. I thought I'd just show off this little speed controller. I think it cost me about $9, so I'm sure you can look them up and see where they're from. I just put those plugs in. I did have, there is a button. So this button here is to turn the unit on and off. But obviously I needed to put them in a different place, because obviously the wires are in the wrong place, but I was only messing around with this little, I don't know, food container to sit it all in. But yeah, that's it. Hope you have enjoyed it. Happy to answer any questions if you've got them, and until the next time, see you all later. Alright, that's about the best of the cleanup you're going to see. I sort of don't have time to do it, so that's it. Yeah. See some garnets in there as well, so a bit of lead, a few nicer flakes, but yeah, very small gold. Very, very, very small. Like, that's dust. Trust me, that's dust. Alright guys, so a few things with the cleanup as well that I didn't mention in the video. and that is you probably want to use a magnet, remove the metals, the ironstone and all that sort of stuff. So that's one thing you want to do as well. That'll also assist you, but you've got to be very careful, because when you're using a magnet you can often get very small pieces of gold stuck to ironstone, and you may be washing the stuff away or throwing the stuff away, sucking it up. Even between the rocks, the little fine bits of gold get stuck to it. I don't know if anyone's had gold in a little jar that's like super fine dust, and it just sticks everywhere like static all around the outside of it. So there's a few things to like do as well. Some of the stuff I didn't cover as well is I should have had a bucket at the end of the sluice catching all the cons, rather than having them just sit there and drop out. But yeah, and there's probably a few other things that I've missed as well, so I'm sure the keyboard warriors will get on there and say, oh, you should have done this and you should have done that. Well, no one's perfect. So yeah, that's it, we're done. So as I said before, hope you have enjoyed the video, and till the next time, catch you all later.